United back in action tonight away at Champions League chasing Nottingham Forest. Joining us now for more is talkSPORT Manchester football correspondent Micky Gray. Morning, Micky.
Good morning, Micky. How are you, mate?
Yeah, McCoist, really good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah,
top
really
form
good,
here,
thanks.
pal.
But look, if Real Madrid really are in for Bruno Fernandes, there's nothing that Ruben Amorim's going to say or do to stop him going, is there?
Yeah, that was the message that got in his press conference yesterday, Jeff, that he wanted Bruno Fernandes to stay. He talked about the stats that he brings to Manchester United single season also, albeit that they've not been fantastic for so many years now. But he said he's got 30 goal involvements a season. He said, why would I want to let Bruno Fernandes leave the club? He said I'd had a brief conversation with him. He said he's not going anywhere. And he said it with a smile on his face. He was in a good mood yesterday, actually, Ruben Amorim. But he talked about, trying to finish the season strongly and obviously the Europa League as well. They want to go on and win that if they possibly can. And he wants to try and put a smile back on people's faces because it's been so long that it's just been terrible at Man United. And I think the international break probably came at the worst time because the period for Man United over the 3 or 4 games prior to that international break was probably their best since he walked through the door.
Well, Micky, we said that, and Jeff said it earlier on, one of the factors that might come into play, obviously, Forest extra time and penalties again at the weekend. United have a little bit of a break. That said, Forest got an opportunity to do the double over United for the first time since Brian Clough. I mean, it's a remarkably tough game to call now.
Oh, absolutely, Coisty. Yeah, and I think Man United they'll have to go cautious, like a lot of sides now do have to when they play against Nottingham Forest, certainly at their ground, because they've been absolutely outstanding. I mean, they've still got a chance of chasing down Arsenal, haven't they? But I think the style of football has been so good on the eye to watch from Forest this season. The way they just soak up pressure and then they just break with Gibbs White and the forward players that they've got. They've been absolutely fantastic. I'm not quite sure if Chris Rudd is shaking off his injury, but he'll be a bit of a miss if he's not playing for them. I think he just gives them that little bit of an outlet as well, and his goals have been incredible this season. But I think Man United themselves, they've got a couple of players coming back from injury as well, haven't they? Harry Maguire, I think Lenny Yoro got a mention yesterday as well. But Erasmus Højlund, I think there's a funny one, isn't it? I mean, he scored his first goal before the international break. Then he goes away with his country, and I think he scored for his country as well. I still can't make my mind up whether I think he's going to be Man United moving forward or they still need to look for another centre forward. But it's a big game for them.
Micky, Marcus Rashford obviously making a few headlines for Aston Villa. Could you see any scenario where Rashford returns to Old Trafford and is part of Ruben Amorim's plans?
Well, again, Jeff, this is in his press conference and a couple of people asked him questions about Marcus Rashford and he said, look, he's not my player at this present time. And he never really speaks about the players that are out on loan because he also got asked about Anthony as well, who we know is in decent form at Real Betis. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen with Marcus. I'm sure there's been brief conversations with his agent and the football club itself, and I'm talking Manchester United here. I don't know which way they're going to go with him. If Marcus comes back and he shows the form that we've seen in an Aston Villa shirt, then they're getting a fantastic player again. But I think that ship might have sailed. I really do. I think the summer's going to be an interesting one for Manchester United. If they don't go on and win the Europa League, then they've got no funds to go and bring in players for Ruben Amorim to move forward. So they're going to have to try and get those funds from elsewhere. And Marcus is probably one of the only assets at Manchester United where they're going to get that money in. We know he's got the talent, but I'm not quite sure if it's going to be in a Manchester United shirt next season. I wasn't even actually thinking that in January when he left, but I think the more that the weeks go by, I think Marcus is going to be playing football somewhere else.
Just a quick one, Micky, on Neighbour City across the road. Looks as though Haaland's going to be out now for a good number of weeks. We weren't great in the first half. Tactical substitution worked wonders second half, and they go through to the semi-finals. I mean, would an FA Cup victory and a Champions League place, which isn't guaranteed, be a satisfactory season?
Well, Coisty, I think with City, I think we just expect them to go and win the Premier League or the Champions League and get to the latter stages every single season. I suppose if they keep the trophy cabinet or keep adding to the trophy cabinet, I suppose that's a bit of a bonus for them. But I think it's just been one of them seasons where everybody's probably looking off the field at the stuff that's been happening, these 115 counts. When are we actually going to get that answer from that? I think they started the rebuild in January. I'm sure they're going to try and do that in the summer. Nobody knows what's going to happen with Man City with these transfer embargoes, if it's going to happen or if they're going to get points deduction. But if they can finish in Champions League football and pick up the FA Cup, I suppose any other side probably would say that's a successful season.
Yeah.
Mickey, thank you, mate.
Thanks, we all the best.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Coisty.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.